Okay, Saturday night, Charles Oliveira went out there and got back in winning ways in absolute style, as we saw. Clearly dominated Beneil Dariush from start to finish. Went out there, landed a beautiful head kick. As always, super aggressive, okay? Not fighting like a guy that recently lost his belt. Not fighting like a guy that was under a lot of pressure. Fighting like a guy that's an absolute killer, that wanted to make a statement and show the entire world that he truly is the champion of the world. In his own mind, he felt like the champion, and the crowd in Vancouver, when he said who's the champion, gave him a massive applause. So to a lot of people, Charles Oliveira is the people's champion, and to get a title shot, he had to make a statement. He did that. He finished Dariush, who was on an 8-fight winning streak, and I think the next fight that's going to happen is Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira, Do Bronx, the rematch, number 2 in Abu Dhabi, going down in October. That is what Charles wants. That's probably what Islam Makhachev wants. Look, listen, they fought already. Islam took him out in the first round, actually dropped him, followed him down like Gagey didn't, like Poirier didn't, followed him down, but not only followed him, finished him. Got an arm triangle, beautiful submission, became the champion of the world. Now, Islam is walking around at the moment, he's a little bit annoyed because currently right now, Jon Jones is the pound for pound #1 champion. He's the greatest of all time to a lot of people and currently ranked as the pound for pound #1. Islam Makhachev says
this is #1 bullshit
because he fought a guy in Cyril Gane that can't even wrestle. He said, how on earth can Jon Jones be the pound for pound #1 when he's beating guys that can't even wrestle? Well, that was his last opponent. And I understand Islam being annoyed. He feels like he's not getting the respect that he deserves. But the reality is, Jon Jones he's gone through many generations of great fighters and many generations of people that can wrestle. But we're not here to talk about that. And the reason Islam is annoyed is because he just fought and beat Alexander Volkanovski in Sydney, Australia earlier this year in March. Volkanovski was the pound for pound #1, and he beats Volkanovski. He doesn't become the pound for pound #1. Jon Jones is still the pound for pound #1. Volkanovski was still #1 until Jon Jones took that from both. So Islam's a little bit annoyed, but he's open to the rematch with Charles Oliveira, and of course he is, because he took him out there last time. He made it look like light work. He made it look easy. And even right now, on the odds, Islam is a -350 favourite. Currently with the score, the bookies, the odds makers. So that means if you put $100 on, you'll get a return of $128. Now, what happens in the rematch? I mean, the reality is it could go the exact same way, right? It wasn't that long ago. They're both essentially the same fighter. Not much has changed, but every fight is different. I said that when I fought Luke Rockhold the second time, he was so confident, because he took me out in the second round with a one-arm guillotine. He's like, bro, last time I dropped you, I choked you out and I picked you up off the canvas. I said, yeah, you did. Well done, congratulations. You caught me with a head kick, but this one's going to be different. And this one might be different. Listen, Islam Makhachev, we all know the big strength is the grappling, the sambo, the takedowns, the submissions. But the striking's getting better all the time. I thought against Volkanovski, his striking looked very, very sharp. Javier Mendez, his coach at American Kickboxing Academy, AKA, he's doing great work. He's getting better all the time. His shots are fast, they're sharp, they're technical, and he's improving, as I say. And he's clearly got power. I mean, as I said, first time he put down Charles Oliveira with a shot. So what will happen? They are essentially the same fighter. But Charles, I don't think will approach this any different way. I mean, look, listen, until he lost to Islam, he was on an 11-fight winning streak. And he finished 10 of those people. And he finished them in a similar fashion to the way he finished Beneil Dariush. That's by not giving them any respect. That's by, from the opening bell, just walking them down, throwing whatever he can, the kitchen sink, the 8 limbs, punches, kicks, knees, elbows, because he's so confident in his skills. He knows he has no weak areas. The man can wrestle, he can take people down. He's got the most submissions in the history of the UFC at 18. He has the most finishes at 20. This man's confidence is through the goddamn roof, and he got caught of Islam Makhachev. You can call it a bad night at the office. He wants to get right back in there, and I cannot wait. And in my opinion, it is the match to make. So that will go down. Listen, I think Dana even said that he was open to the idea.
Let's not play games. That fight makes sense. That's the fight that should happen, and I'm excited to see it again.
I don't think anyone in Abu Dhabi or that side of the world is going to have a problem adding Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira to the card. And Islam Makhachev, he's going to fight. Okay, it was March. He hasn't fought for a while, so that probably matches up perfectly. And Charles Oliveira, he took no damage whatsoever. I mean, yeah, he got taken down by Beneil and he ate a couple of shots, but he's good to go. You know, October, he's going to be flying. He's got time to rest, go on holiday, whatever he wants to do, hang around with his people, his family, and then get back into training camp. What we're now, June, July, August, September, October. So yeah, he's got plenty of time. But when you look at the records of them, Charles Oliveira, a lot of those losses, they came with the old Charles. The Charles that people used to call a quitter, which is insane. The man is not a quitter, we know that. He was on an 11-fight streak, finished 10 of those people against incredible people. Islam, 24-1. Recently beat Volkanovski, Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises and Drew Dober. All great fighters. I think when you look at the caliber of fighter that Charles Oliveira has been beating, they're better. We've got the Justins, we've got the Dustins, we've got the two people fighting for the BMF title, and a whole host of other people, Tony Ferguson, legends galore. So currently, and I'm going to get shit for this as well, because I always do whenever I go against Islam or Habib or whatever, because I'm not going against them, I'm giving an opinion. Currently, the wins that he had on his winning streak are better than Islam's. But still, who cares? Because Islam beat him inside the octagon, and he is the champion of the goddamn world. So there it is. That's going to go down. Abu Dhabi, who wins? The way Charles fights and walks his opponents down is very, very dangerous. However, that allows him to get caught. That's why he lost against Islam. That's why he has so many finishes. But it's also why he lost some fights back in the past. So I don't know. It could go down the exact same way, or we could see Anu. We could see Charles Oliveira. And I would love to see that. I mean, I would love to see that, because we get a trilogy. And that would just be phenomenal. It really would. I think Charles Oliveira is the most exciting fighter in the UFC right now. I cannot miss a single one of his fights. And him versus Islam Makhachev, it's going to be a very even fight. Regardless, the odds makers think that it's Islam. He's the favourite, and I get that. But I think this is a much, much closer fight. It could go either way. Charles is better with the striking, probably better with the submissions. Islam is better with the takedowns and the control. But he doesn't make mistakes, and he doesn't take as many risks. And that's a much safer strategy. And that's probably why he's 24-1. And he's not lost since he got caught in his UFC debut. But still, there it is. I can't wait for it. Probably more than likely, I think everyone's saying, Fight Island, Abu Dhabi, October, Charles versus Islam 2. Not to find out who the pound for pound is, because that's Jon Jones. Anyway, hope you're all well. Subscribe, ring the bell. See you soon.